Welcome to episode 21 of the Chicago Gamepreneur Show. I'm Kyuan Hong, and we have our special guest host, Jamie Sanchez.
Hello.
Friend of the pod, so your second time on.
Yes, it is.
And our guest today is Chris Wade, who's
Hello.
working on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah.
So let's take 2 minutes. I'll just do sponsors really quick, and then we can jump in and get introduced.
Great.
So the pod is sponsored by InnoPrints. That's inoprints.com. If you go on there, you can get a 15% discount on your first print order by using the code CGS. They're really great. We just ordered our new business cards through them. So I recommend them for all your printing needs. And we're also sponsored by Ledger General. If you're running a small game business, you don't have time for taxes, neither do we. So go to Ledger General on Facebook and get a free half-hour consult when you mention the podcast. So back to Chris. So maybe you can give us the kind of 2-minute pitch about your Kickstarter, your game, Sausage Sports Club.
Sure. Okay, so I'm working on a game called Sausage Sports Club. It's a sausage team physics game about long-necked animals playing sports. The game has a big focus on a lot of different content, so there's a lot of different game modes you can play, a lot of characters, a lot of like skins and hats you can unlock. Right now in the game there's 5 modes, 5 different characters, and there's going to be like twice as many each.
That's actually a backer reward, right?
Designing a character is the highest tier backer reward, and there's still 2 early bird versions of that's like $100 cheaper.
Very nice. So if you've ever dreamed of making a sausage-shaped character, now's your chance, right?
Yeah, totally.
So how did you come up with the original concept of the whole sausage-shaped animal thing?
Sure. I hear that question a lot, and it's not like as glamorous as you would want, where I like woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, I know what my next game's gonna be. It was actually after the Game Developers Conference last year. I saw a talk by Ben Foddy about like using the physics engine of your game tool to like using like the intricacies of it to design your game.
Okay.
And I saw something in that talk about how if you make a stack of physics bodies and then kind of like bend it around, they tend to lag and make like a floppy effect.
Oh, okay.
And the guy who gave that talk made a game called Super Pole Riders, where it's basically pole vaulting, where you're like using a pole that bends as you like go up in the air on it. And that was his example, and I was super interested in that idea.
The game is so much fun and like
Yeah.
so frustrating at the same time.
Yeah.
So immediate like pole sausage analogy.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. And from that talk, around the same time that talk, I'd also been watching a lot of like sports videos of like athletes playing basketball, and like top 10 plays videos of them doing like crazy runs up to the net and then doing weird dunks, and like skateboarding videos of Rodney Mullen doing like 10-minute long like flowing, never stopping, like spinning around and lifting up the skateboard as he's moving on and stuff like that. And I was thinking, wow, these athletes do these insane like feats of athleticism, and it's beautiful at the same time, and it's like using their bodies in weird ways to do cool things. And video games don't let you do that, because it's like usually your body control is like one stick moves your character, the other stick is just like aiming your face, and that's like the most complex like body control you get in a lot of games. So with those two ideas of like weird physics and like having more complex sports bodies, I started prototyping and ended up like through a few iterations I ended up with this idea.
Very cool. How did the iteration process work? We talk a lot about iteration just because I think it's a really important part about building a game, right?
Yeah.
No one kind of just has the finished idea to begin with. So what was your process like going from one build to the next, and how did you find like this is the one, this is like the fun one that people like?
Sure. So the first build after those ideas came together was just a still Tentacle that couldn't walk around, couldn't move, and it was just like using keyboard keys. You could like flop around this tentacle, and it was like already goofy and stupid and funny, but I felt restricted by not being able to move around, so I added feet. And then that was funny, and I started showing people, and they thought it was funny. And that seemed to be the direction the game was going. So I asked the obvious question, how could I make this funnier? And then I made it into a dog, which is actually Jamie's dog, Watson, the co-op dog.
It's his like 5th game now.
Yeah, Watson's played so many different games.
He's gonna get a ton of royalties at some point, right?
Yeah.
He gets paid in pets.
Yeah. So I came up with that, and then around that time I started posting the game to Twitter, like GIFs of the like floppy physics, and one of them specifically, it was actually a bug of like the animal like breaking in half and like flopping around. Got tons of retweets, like 2,000 retweets or something crazy.
Mhm.
And that was when I was like, okay, this is something people like and are interested in. This could actually be a thing. This could actually be a commercial game. Also, like, what people react to the most, and those two things like drove my iterative process.
Yeah, that's really smart. I think your game like is really like memorable when you see the GIFs because it is like funny, you know, it's,
Yeah.
the animals flopping around and stuff
Yeah.
like that. How often do you post to Twitter when you're developing?
When I'm working on new features for the game, it's pretty much whenever I have something I'm happy with.
Okay.
I'll post it, and if it gets tons of retweets that'll like motivate me to like polish it up even more and work on that specific feature, and if nobody really cares, then I'll maybe if I'm like super excited about it, I don't care if other people aren't retweeting it, but if I'm like not sure about the feature to begin with, then I'll just like move on to the next thing or finish it up.
Do you find that day Twitter and night Twitter have different preferences and interests?
Ah, that's interesting. So night Twitter is way more furries. I'll say that. And because my game is like sausagey animals, like furries are really into it. So that's definitely a difference I've noticed.
It's a very niche audience.
Yeah, totally. And super late into the night, maybe this is just the people that follow me or the people I follow. Super late into the night tends to be not as many people, not as many retweets. I'd say like 11 a.m. is the best time to tweet something. You're trying to get a lot of retweets.
Yeah, some of the social like aggregators you can sign up for will actually like tell you like this is the best time to tweet because most of your followers are on this is when they're most likely to
interesting.
retweet and stuff like that.
What sites do that?
So I used a service called Social Bro,
Social Bro.
and it was a terrible name. It was actually a social browser, and for some reason they decided to show. Yeah,
That's funny.
so I think they rebranded recently, but I haven't generated a new report off them.
Okay.
So,
Got
but
it.
I think like Owly will do it or something like that. So you can just look at the different services and see which one will feed your report.
Okay.
Twitter's analytics are pretty great too. They'll give
Yeah.
you like a monthly recap
Okay.
on your best tweets and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
I know semi-recently they added where you can like click on a specific tweet and see like impressions and how many people clicked on your link or like looked at the media, stuff like that.
Oh, interesting.
it's
I
very
didn't know
valuable.
that, yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed recently that it doesn't work as well for GIFs. Like
Mhm.
like if like a tweet I make gets like 10 retweets or something, I know that more people have seen the GIF than it usually says in that analytics. So
Oh,
so
interesting.
it's not really trustworthy.
So we are about 10 days into your Kickstarter?
It's 8 days in. There's 21 days left.
Okay.
So I think the total length is like 31 days, just so it would end the day after PAX West.
Gotcha. And how's it feel for right now?
It's going really well, actually. It's being on day 8, we're already 54% funded, which
Okay. Uh-huh.
from everything I've read, that's like a very good sign that it's likely to succeed.
Yeah, I
So
think
I'm
if you
super
can pull over 50% in week 1, that's a really strong indicator. So,
Yeah.
so any stretch goals that you'd like to aim for? Or is it more just getting to your point now and then kind of thinking of it when you get to the?
No, I definitely have stretch goals in mind. I know eventually I want to do consoles and I want to do online. If like the game, either through the Kickstarter or from sales afterwards, makes enough money. Those are the two things I think would put the game in most people's hands.
Gotcha.
If I did those, so that's the focus. I also have an idea for like a survival wave mode thing, like Left 4
Oh.
Dead survival mode that I want to do.
Just imagine a whole wave of like pigeons and corgis.
Yeah.
And it sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
They're cute and at the same time.
I think it would be really cool to add like co-op specific modes on top of the competitive stuff, because I know some people who would be interested in the game won't want to buy it because it's right now it's only competitive, and the audience that likes cute animals tends to also like co-op games over competitive games, I would say.
Okay.
So those are the things I'm thinking about for stretch goals.
It strikes me as not like a viciously competitive game,
Sure.
but I'm sure that some people would get viciously competitive
Yeah.
no matter what game you're playing, right?
Yeah, totally.
But it really does feel like a Saturday night couch game, right?
Yeah.
Where you get your friends together, you have a couple beers, and you all run around whacking the animals together. So.
Yeah. A lot of people compare it to Game Beast when they first see it. They think,
Oh yeah.
They think like, oh, this looks like Game Beast. And I really like Game Beast, and I have been inspired by some ways by Game Beast, but something I'm trying to do with this game is make it both the silly, funny thing and also the like serious competitive sports game. Because I don't like in Game Beast that I often feel uncontrollable and like
Feels a little random.
yeah, totally. And the first like 6 months of this game, everybody thought it was that, and I like pushed to get away from that more and more. And now people definitely like react to it more as a sports game with funny stuff than as a funny game that's themed like a sports game.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
Important distinction.
Yeah. I got a lot of people have also told me I can't have it both ways, and I hate those people. And I want to prove them wrong. So
Yeah, I think you can have tight controls and also make something that's funny.
yeah,
That's
the-
visually fun to look at. So yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.